We're back after about 10 minutes or so. We're going to go ahead and go into the oven. My fillets sitting at about 110. I tempted a minute or two before I haphazardly got back on camera. Again, we're going to temp it again, going from the side. It's about 115, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that off and put it on my drain pan. And I'm going to let all that butter and oil in the pan for now. My potatoes on. Take my knife, no resistance around it. So I'm going to take those to the drain pan too and just let them sit and rest. Big reason for that is that oil in there is very hot right now. And if I went to flip it over and got it on me, it would burn a lot, and I have enough burns in my life. So we're going to take our pan right out of the oven. All that beautiful fondant and flavor in the bottom, we're going to incorporate into our sauce. Let me go ahead and shut my oven off. And I'm going to go them over. My mise en place for that. I'm just going to drop my shallots in. Just going to start gently cooking these. Want to get these nice and translucent, and then we will go on to building our sauce. A big part of classical sauce building, to me, that's been lost is building things from the fondant or the flavors that are in the pan already. You know, and it's one of those things that just, especially for the home cook, you know, you don't have all the stocks around, you don't have all the fancy vinegars or all the other stuff to kind of build flavor. It's really the simplest way to go about building flavor and building a very professional-ish kind of recipe or stock. So you can see that already, that's already picking up all that flavor. Just let that go. We'll give it a little scrape, try to get that up off of there. A little swirl. Take about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm going to bounce my heat up just a little bit. One of the important things, I'm using a 10-inch saute pan here, is to make sure that your shallots, and whenever you're doing the sauce, that whatever it is, covers the bottom of the pan. And if it doesn't, to work very quickly so that it doesn't burn. We want it to caramelize, we don't want it to burn. And we also, the level of caramelization with this, we don't need a ton. Going back to the prep at the table, that's why I kind of cut them small, so when you get to this point, you're not standing there all day waiting for something. You can see there, it's already picked up all that flavor off the bottom. About a few minutes. If you find your shallots are burning or cooking too fast, go ahead and add a little bit more oil into the pan, or butter, whichever will work. That oil and that butter always acts as an insulator. Not insulin, that's a whole different subject. I'm not in the medical field. But that'll help. It's kind of a layer between the heat of the pan and the vegetables to help it cook a little bit easier. As soon as they start to cook down, they'll start sticking again a little bit maybe at some point. That's fine, because when we add the vinegar, that's going to lift that all up off of the bottom. Just kind of shuffling around, making sure all those little rings are getting broken up. All those little segments, making sure there's no hot spots in the pan, things like that. Even the best quality pans, I found at times, have hot spots. Burners can get clogged. You can have a lot of heat going to one side and not the other. I'm going to go ahead and give us some heat here, just keep moving along. Feel free at home, though, when you're doing this, to let it go a little bit slower. Again, I'm not talented enough yet with the editing part of this to do a time lapse to like 20 minutes from now or 5 minutes from now. And I don't want anybody, you know, listening to me babble for the next 20 minutes. Just keep on moving around. And don't worry about anything that might be sticking a little bit around the side, as long as it's not burning. If it starts burning, that's when we'll worry. Until then, I'm not really going to worry too much about it. Kind of let that do its thing. The one thing about onions is the slower you cook them, and with shallot being of that family, with the slower you cook them, the more flavor you get out of them. It's kind of a time-taking process from getting them from that Schreckets and onion to caramelized onions and that really deep flavor, but it's definitely well worth it. Again, just kind of keep moving them around. Again, that shake of the pan really helps from when you get that in the middle, kind of bring everything back together. Not leaving that big open space in the middle that's going to end up a burn. So we're going to go ahead and add our vinegar. And at this point, we're just going to let that work along with our brown sugar. And let that kind of reduce by about half. Now, one of the foundations to the sauce is that the syrupiness of this, supporting the butter and kind of giving the butter something to cling to. So we're going to go ahead and let that reduce.